Hi, I'm Charla from Freezer Meals 101. Welcome to this week's What's for Dinner, where I share with you how I turned our freezer meals into our family's dinner this week. So if you're looking for great, easy recipes to feed your family, be sure to subscribe to us here on Freezer Meals 101. The first thing we made this week was a barbecue pulled pork. We had made that on, I think it was day 2 of, nope, that was in our 5 ingredient freezer meal challenge that we made that. So I'll pop that link there, or maybe it's there. I always mix that up. Anyway, and then with the barbecue pulled pork, it ended up like it was a huge pork roast. So even with a large family like ours, we ended up with leftovers. So what I did with those, because there were so many, is that I actually froze those. Just put them in a medium-sized freezer bag once they were cooked and shredded, and froze that, because then we can use that pulled pork for on top of nachos or in sandwiches or things down the road. My friend Lindsay actually gave me that idea, and I know that it's safe to refreeze because the pulled pork, when it was first frozen, it wasn't yet pulled and it wasn't yet cooked. So it was a frozen pork, and so then it's safe to refreeze because we had cooked it in between. So it wouldn't be safe to like thaw it and then freeze it again when it's raw. But because I had gone ahead and cooked it, it's safe to freeze. So anyway, just a little, I can't help but throw freezer tips in these What's for Dinner videos. Sorry about that. But anyway, hope that helps a little. Then we had our sausage zucchini soup, which is our middle son's absolute favorite meal. Like, not just his favorite soup, it's like his favorite meal. So that is always something that we enjoy. It's nice and hearty, and it's really like all in one, because it's got your pasta, your protein, your vegetables, and it's like really thick and hearty. So great for a cold day, which we actually still have some of those around here where I live, although it is starting to warm up for sure. We also had the sun-dried tomato Italian chicken, and that was a meal that we invented at the end of our freezer meal assembly sessions. We always do some invention recipes, and they usually turn out to be recipes that we then put into our repertoire and make again and again because they turn out so well. And so how we do those is with any ingredients that we have left over that are already prepped, we throw them into freezer bags in a way that we think makes sense. We may even look through the pantry and see if there's anything else we can throw in that we think would taste good. And we've invented some of our best recipes that way. So you can see the sun-dried tomato Italian chicken video in our invention freezer meal video. With that, I served some stuffed potatoes that were stuffed with jalapeno, bacon, and green onions, and I had picked those up at the local farmer's market. They were delicious. And then I did some really simple zucchini with some Parmesan, and so that meal turned out to be really good. And that sun-dried tomato Italian chicken really was delicious. And we did Mongolian beef one night just over rice, and the rice was actually rice that I had left over when I had made freezer meals for my mother-in-law and my dad, and some of their meals had cooked rice with them. So when I had leftover rice, I had just put the leftovers into a medium-sized freezer bag, sealed that up really well, and frozen it because I knew that there would be a night where it would come in handy. And sure enough, we had one of those days where it was like full of appointments and I was running all day, and actually, to be honest, it was just one of those days where things also go wrong and I wasn't in a great mood. And so it was so nice to be able to pull out like the Mongolian beef, which fries up in minutes. It's such a fast freezer meal. And to just pull out the pre-cooked rice and just heat it up, and it was already made. And I know rice is so easy to make anyway, but this just like took out a step and it just made me happy. So the last thing that we had this week was my sister-in-law's recipe for pierogies and cream sauce in the crock pot. And I actually did a full video explaining that because it is such a good recipe, and I kind of was like, well, it's kind of a freezer meal because the pierogies were frozen, so I was justifying that on why it would be good to put on a freezer meal YouTube channel. Anyway, that is what we ate this week. Quite a large variety, lots of easy meals, but more important than that, really delicious and family friendly. For the barbecue pulled pork, we just dumped it from the freezer bag into the crock pot, cooked it on low for most of the day, and shredded it. That's my son shredding it there for me. And then I made a garlic mayo to go with that. So just mayo and squeezed some fresh garlic into there, and then added some salt, pepper, and lemon juice. And that makes such a simple garlic mayo, but it makes all the difference in the world. And then we just spread the garlic mayo on buns, topped that with the pulled pork, and that's what was for dinner. So our sun-dried Italian chicken concoction is doing well over there. I've put some stuffed potatoes that I got from the farmer's market. They're stuffed with jalapeno, bacon, and scallions, green onions, I guess. I put those in the oven for about 20 minutes, and then, so they're halfway done. And then I'm gonna add some zucchini and just top that with a spray of olive oil, pepper, and then put that back in the oven. When it's almost done, I'll top the zucchini with a little sprinkle of Parmesan cheese. And that's all I'm gonna do for sides because there are some yellow peppers, tomatoes, and onions in the chicken. So that should be good on the vegetables, and the potato will give us our starch. So I think that is going to be it for dinner tonight. So now I've just added a bit of Parmesan onto those zucchini slices, and you guys know me, I like to use the least amount of dishes possible in cases like these, so that's why they're sharing the same tray. So our sun-dried Italian chicken creation, stuffed baked potato, and zucchini with Parmesan. That's what's for dinner tonight. So this is the zucchini sausage soup, really hearty. It's got the pasta already attached on with staples, so everything that we need is right here ready to go. I'm just gonna thaw it and then we will cook it. Once it's thawed enough, just dump the contents of the bag into a large stovetop pot, add a Tetra Pak of chicken broth, bring it to a boil, and then simmer it for about an hour. Towards the end of that hour, you can add in your smaller bag of the noodles because it's all pre-measured and everything's there for you. And those will take 15-20 minutes to cook completely. And that's it. If you want, you can top it with some Parmesan cheese and some red chili flakes. This is the Mongolian beef freezer meal, and that is the extra rice that I had frozen. So it's already cooked and just needs to be reheated. I had my husband actually cook this up for me, and I forgot to get a picture of the finished product, but basically that cooked up on rice. This is that amazing pierogies in the crock pot in a creamy dill sauce. I made a full video on how to make this, so I'll put the link above, and it was, as usual, amazing and delicious. So thanks for joining me today, and happy cooking!